Hi, my name is Nora St. I'm Education Program Director for Balanced Body. I am also the programmer and founder for Pilates On Tour, so I spend a lot of time designing the programs for Pilates On Tour, figuring out who should be in the programs, trying to create pathways within the programs for students and teachers at all different levels of ability. So Pilates On Tour got started when it came out of a project called Body, Mind, Spirit. So in 2001, I had started a teacher training program down in San Jose with a woman named Renee Monroe Satterfield. And we were talking about doing a conference, and we talked about doing a big conference, and we put together Body, Mind, Spirit. After I'd done that programmed that for 3 years, I decided I wanted to do something else, and basically called up Ken and let him know I wasn't going to be doing Body, Mind, Spirit anymore, but I had this other idea. And I told him about Pilates On Tour, and at that point he basically said, you know, what are we doing next? And Al and I put together a business plan and came up and presented to Ken, and he said, okay, let's go. Pilates On Tour is unique in several ways. One, we've made a very concerted effort since the beginning to represent many different voices in Pilates. So representing people from the classical world, people from more contemporary world, more rehab orientation, more class-oriented orientation, all of the above. And that's really been a lot of Balanced Body's voice anyway. Has a lot to do with bringing in all the different ways that Pilates is expressed in different teachers, in different philosophies, in different schools, and really trying to have all of that present at a POT. So that's one major thing. The second thing is, I like to call it the kinder, gentler Pilates conference. We really focus on being very accepting, very warm. Wherever somebody comes in, they're going to learn something. Not a lot of judgment, not a lot of negativity. That's one of our focuses too. I feel like Pilates has peaked in terms of, or had a large growth phase in the early 2000s. And it really, 1 million people started to do it. It got its brand name out there, if you will. I feel like now we're at a point where people know what it is, so a lot of people still do it and are attracted to it, and there's still growth in Pilates itself. But people have also learned a lot about mindful movement and moved into other ways of expressing that. For example, personal trainers that I used to work with 25 years ago when I started teaching, we spoke a completely different language in terms of the core, in terms of refinement, in terms of a lot of things. Now we speak a lot of the same language. So I feel like a lot of what I love about Pilates has really spread through the rest of the fitness world. And so I really feel like we're just expanding the possibilities for everybody in terms of a great modality for them to either add into their training or to be their own training, be their only training. The great thing about Pilates as a discipline is it's all about the body, and the body is an endless source of information. Information on it's always changing, science on it's always changing, and just as you work with clients more and more, you just get more and more refined in your understanding of how the body works. And that's an amazing foundation for Pilates On Tour, for everything else we do at Balanced Body. Is just, you know, the body's an amazingly great thing to work with. It's really fun. So there's two things I want to comment on. One is the original impetus for Pilates On Tour, and really for all of the conferences that I've been involved in over the years, is I came through Pilates at a time when there was very few people doing Pilates. I started 25 years ago. Nobody I ever met had ever heard of it. And at a certain point, I started talking to different teachers. And I realized there's a lot of teachers that were working alone in their studios who had this idea or these concepts that they thought were absolutely brilliant. But there was never that opportunity to test those against their peers. And I feel like there's something really powerful about people bringing their ideas together, expressing them with their peers. I think it really helps to refine the industry. It really helps people to refine their ideas and present them better. And I think there's something really great about the conference environment for that. You know, there's a little competition, if you will, in a good way. And you know, you really see who's got something that people really want to say, people really want to hear, and you see people who have things that, you know, are like an edge of things, not really the mainstream of where we're going. So that's one thing I want to say, is just how Pilates On Tour started was really that impetus of trying to bring people out of their studios, out of their own heads, if you will, and really interacting with their peers, because that's been a tremendous growth for the industry. The other thing is, and Dan reminded me of this, one of the things that a lot of people say about Pilates On Tour is that they're part of the Balanced Body family. That when you come to a Pilates On Tour, everybody's going to say hello. There's a lot of people you're going to know there, and if you don't, you'll feel like you know them by the end of the weekend. The presenters have certainly become a family. We've all had, dinner together all over the world in many different times. And the same thing with a lot of the attendees, that they really become their own little family. And if you come, you'll be a part of the family too. We like to have you.